Consider everything you know about your life, your world, your very self. Now I tell you this, it is all an illusion, a temporary arrangement you agree to believe in each morning. Every single night, the very consciousness that you call I departs from this physical form. You leave this body behind as one might leave a house, and you travel into dimensions of pure being where the limitations of this world do not apply. You return at dawn, picking up the costume of personality and circumstance, forgetting your journey and mistaking the costume for the actor. What if the reality you cling to is not solid, not ultimate, but merely the projection of a consciousness still half in dream? What if your true existence is not confined to this body, this history, these worries that seem so real by daylight? We are here to pierce that veil. We are here to remember the nightly journey and to bring that knowledge into the waking state, transforming our experience of life from the inside out. This is not a philosophy to be debated. It is a truth to be lived, a recognition that will set you free from the bondage of appearances. If this resonates with the deepest truth within you, I urge you to take part in this sacred fellowship. Subscribe to this channel as an act of committing to your own awakening. And below, in the comments, place the number REFF7 as a symbol of your readiness to move beyond the 7 days of ordinary life into the eternal Sabbath of conscious union. Consider the weight of your head upon the pillow each night, that final surrender as the thoughts of the day blur and fade. In that moment, a profound and silent exodus occurs. The awareness, the very I am, that reads these words does not simply go to sleep. It disengages. It steps out. The body, magnificent and intricate instrument that it is, remains a vessel now empty of its captain, breathing automatically, repairing itself, but uninhabited by the central consciousness that gives it meaning and identity in the waking hours. You know this experience not through doctrine, but through its shadow. Have you ever awakened suddenly, perhaps from a vivid dream, and for a fleeting, disorienting second, not known where you were, or even what you were? In that gap, before the mind rushed in to label the room, the bed, the body, there was a pure point of awareness, unlocated and free. That is the faint echo of the return. Or consider the mystery of the alarm clock. You set it for 7000 a.m., and at 60:59 you are in a deep, dreamless void. At 7000, you are abruptly back, conscious and already thinking. Where were you in the instant before the sound? You were nowhere that a clock can measure, because the you that is real was not inside the mechanism of flesh and bone. It was on its journey home. This is the great secret hidden in plain sight within the common act of sleep. We believe we are this composite of memories, desires, and physical sensations, a continuous narrative from birth. But every night, that narrative is cleanly interrupted. The consciousness that you truly are leaves the premises. It withdraws from the senses. The eyes see nothing. The ears hear nothing of this world. The tactile sense of the mattress vanishes. You are absent. Where does it go? It returns to its source, to a state of unformed, unconditioned being. It swims in the infinite, free from the burdens it will reassume at dawn the mortgage, the identity as a parent or a professional, the acres, the plans, the entire story of a life. Think of the body then as a sophisticated spacecraft. All day, you, the astronaut, are inside, looking through the viewport of the eyes, manipulating the controls of the hands, speaking through the communication system of the voice. You become so engrossed in the instrument panel, the feelings, the thoughts, the sensory data, that you forget you are the operator within. Then comes the mandatory mission rest period. You do not merely nap at the controls. You disembark. You float freely in the vastness of space, connected to the ship by a lifeline of pure being, but untethered from its confines. The ship, on autopilot, maintains its systems. But the essential you is out there, in the boundless, weightless, silent reality that is your native element. This understanding dismantles the most fundamental and fearful assumption of human life, that we ever are these bodies, and therefore subject to their inevitable decline and final extinction. If consciousness leaves every night and returns every morning, what proof have we that it is generated by the brain? Is the radio generating the symphony, or is it merely receiving and translating a frequency that exists independently? The brain may be the exquisite receiver, the biological instrument through which consciousness experiences a physical universe. But the broadcast itself originates elsewhere. The nightly departure is the proof. The instrument remains, but the music stops. The musician has left the stage. This is why the waking world feels so solid, so persistently real. We return each morning and immediately, automatically, plug back into the receiver. We tune back into the station of physicality, of separation, of time and space. We put on the familiar costume, the personality, the history, the set of reactions, and within moments, we have forgotten our journey. We believe the costume is us. We believe the signals being received are the only reality. The thrill of the dream, the profound peace of deep sleep, the sometimes startling creativity that arrives upon waking, these are mere souvenirs, poorly remembered fragments from our travels in the formless. To grasp this as your actual experience, not as a theory, is to feel the ground shift under your feet in the most liberating way. It means the constraints you feel, the limitations you chafe against, are not ultimate. They are properties of the craft, not of the astronaut. The grief, the anxiety, the sense of lack, these are signals on the panel, not conditions of the operator. When you begin to suspect, then to know that your essential self exits this scenario each night, you can start to question its solidity each day. You can observe the drama of your life with a new, quiet wonder, knowing the actor is eternally free, even while fully engaged in the play. The fear of death loses its grip, for you realize you practice a miniature death and rebirth every 24 hours, and you always return refreshed from a journey into a reality far more fundamental than the one you left behind. Consider then the profound implication of that daily return. You come back, you re-enter the senses, You inhabit the form. And what is the very first thing you do? You reach for the identity you left on the nightstand. You pick up the concerns, you button yourself into the role, and you agree, once more, to the rules of the world you see. This is the silent, invisible, and total agreement that constructs what you call reality. It is a collective pact made anew each morning to perceive separation, solidity, and scarcity as the fundamental truths of existence. But they are not truths. They are terms of an agreement, a story we have all consented to tell, and more importantly, to believe. Walk into your kitchen. You see a solid table, a hard floor, a fragile glass. Your entire being agrees with this assessment. Your senses confirm it. Your past experiences of stubbing a toe or dropping a dish enforce it. But what you are perceiving is not the ultimate nature of these objects. You are perceiving a consensus reality, a narrow band of vibration interpreted through the agreement of your physical senses and the collective human mind. Science itself tells us the chair is mostly empty space, a field of energy appearing solid due to forces and perception. Yet you cannot sit on the idea of empty space, so you agree to its solidity, and it holds you. This is the power of the agreement. It builds your world from the ground up, from the moment you open your eyes. This construct is most visible in what we call problems. You believe in a financial limitation, and your entire perception organizes around evidence of lack. You believe in a sickness, and every sensation becomes proof of the body's fragility. You believe in animosity from another, and their every glance confirms your story. The condition itself may have a seeming reality, but its power, its weight, its tyranny is granted entirely by your agreement to its terms. You have signed a contract with the appearance, and now you feel bound by its clauses. Yet the consciousness that left last night, the true I, was bound by no such contract. It existed in a state prior to agreements where no problem has any form. The thrill, the shocking liberty, comes when you realize you can re-enter the waking world, but choose consciously to withhold your signature from the old agreements. Observe a child immersed in imaginative play. A cardboard box is a fortress. A whispered secret is a powerful spell. For the child, in that moment, it is utterly real. The agreement within the game creates its own reality, complete with rules and stakes. Yet an adult walks into the room, operating under a different agreement, the agreement of utility, of cardboard and triviality. The adult's reality seems more solid, more real. But is it? Both are constructions of thought and agreement. The child can be instantly pulled from his game by the call for dinner. The spell is broken because his agreement shifts. Your waking life is the same. The moment you withdraw your agreement from the construct of a problem, its spell over you begins to dissolve. It may still appear, as the cardboard box still appears, but its meaning, its power to define your experience, is severed. We see this collective agreement in the very fabric of society. Money is paper and metal, yet we agree to its value, and it moves empires. A border is an invisible line, yet we agree to its sovereignty, and it dictates where you may freely walk. These are monumental fictions, held in place by nothing more than sustained collective consent. Your personal reality is built on the same principle, but with more intimate materials, your agreement to your age, your capabilities, your past traumas, your future fears. You have built a house of agreed upon thoughts and called it yourself, and you live within its walls, mistaking the architecture for the sky. The practice, then, is to become a conscious dissenter within the agreement of the waking world. This does not mean denying the appearance of the table, but denying its ultimate authority over your peace. It means feeling a pain in the body without agreeing to the story of degeneration. It means facing a bank statement without agreeing to the narrative of doom. You meet the appearance, but you do not sign its treaty. You hold within you the knowing of the traveler, the one who leaves every night and knows this place is not the whole of existence. From that vantage point, you engage with the world lightly, like an actor who knows the play is not real, yet performs with full commitment, free from the terror of the script. The world will still present its scenes, the challenging colleague, the unexpected bill, the bodily sensation. But your inner agreement is no longer with the drama of separation. It is with the silent, ever-present consciousness that observes the drama, that uses the form, but is never contained by it. You live in the world, but you are no longer of its agreement. You have remembered the clause in the fine print that states all terms are null and void in the light of your true, unbounded nature. This conscious descent from the world's agreement is not a retreat into abstraction. It is, in fact, the beginning of the most practical journey you will ever undertake, the journey into formless being. If consciousness can and does leave the form each night, traveling to a state unbounded by time, space, or the problems of the day, then that state is not a distant heaven. It is your native land. It is the foundation of what you are, and it is accessible not only in sleep, but in the very midst of your waking hours. This is the great secret. You do not have to wait for the night to know this freedom. You can, through a shift in recognition, tap into that formless being right now, while your eyes are open and your hands are engaged in the tasks of the day. Consider the space between your thoughts. In a moment of sudden awe, seeing a staggering sunset, hearing a piece of music that pierces your heart, holding a newborn, the constant chatter of the mind stops. For a fleeting second, there is just pure, silent awareness. In that gap, you are not thinking about your identity, your past, or your to-do list. You simply are. That is not an emotional reaction. That is a crack in the agreed upon reality through which the light of your formless being shines. That sensation of vast, peaceful presence, utterly devoid of form, is not caused by the sunset. The sunset merely provided the occasion for your agreement with the mental narrative to lapse, and in that lapse, your true state is revealed. It was there all along underneath the noise. Think of your awareness as the sky. Your thoughts, feelings, and physical sensations Are the weather passing through that sky, clouds of worry, storms of anger, bright sunshine of joy? You have spent a lifetime identifying with the weather, believing you. Are the storm cloud or the gentle breeze? The journey into formless being is the profound recognition that you are the sky itself, the silent, boundless, unchanging space that holds all weather, yet is never damaged, altered, or defined by it. The clouds come and go, the sky remains. Your problems are weather. Your body's sensations are weather. Your thoughts are weather. The formless being you are is the aware space knowing it all. You cannot touch, measure, or describe the sky. You can only be it. So it is with your essential nature. This is why profound insights often arrive when you are not trying. In the shower, while driving a familiar route, in the quiet exhaustion after a long day, the mind's grip loosens, and a knowing bubbles up from the formless deep. A solution to a problem you've wrestled with for weeks appears, whole and complete. A forgiveness you could not muster suddenly flows effortlessly. This is not the linear mind at work. This is the intelligence of your formless being, the consciousness that travels at night, communicating into the world of form. It is accessed not by harder thinking, but by a gentle cessation of agreement with the thinking mind's turmoil. You let the weather rage, and you rest as the sky. To make this tangible, try this while reading these words. Notice the feeling of your body in the chair. Notice the sounds around you. Now, turn your attention not to the objects of awareness, but to the awareness itself. Who or what is knowing these sensations? Do not try to answer with a thought. Simply feel back into the knowing. You will not find an object. You will find a spacious, alive presence. That is the threshold. That is the formless being, already here, already awake beneath the layers of your agreement with a solid self. In that moment, you are doing what you do every night. You are disidentifying from the form. You are taking a momentary journey inward to the source. This practice dissolves the apparent solidity of your challenges. A gripping fear arises. Instead of agreeing with its story and becoming entangled in the storm of thoughts and physical tension, you feel the fear as a pattern of weather within the sky of your awareness. You give it space. You do not fight the cloud. You acknowledge it and remain as the sky. Something miraculous then occurs. The fear, having no agreement to feed upon, no solid opponent to define itself against, begins to lose its coherence. It may not vanish instantly, but its power to define your reality is broken. You are no longer in the fear. The fear is in you, the vast and formless you. This is how you bring the night's freedom into the day's demands. You cease to be a prisoner of form and become the conscious witness of it, the silent traveler who is never truly confined, even while fully present. This conscious evidence as the sky, however, confronts the very engine of the human dilemma, forgetting. We touch that spaciousness, we have a moment of clear knowing, and then, like a dream upon waking, it slips away. We forget the sky and become entranced once more by the storm. This forgetting is not a personal failure. It is the ancient, automatic rhythm of a consciousness that has agreed to experience itself as separate. It is the root of all bondage because it causes us to believe the weather is all that exists, and in that belief, we give the weather absolute power over our sense of being. We forget we are the traveler and believe ourselves to be the cramped confines of the vehicle. You see this forgetting play out in every moment of suffering. A sharp word is spoken to you. For a flash, there is just the pure sound, the vibration in the air. Then, in an instant, the forgetting activates. The machinery of agreement roars to life. That was meant for me. That is an insult to my person. This is who I am, someone disrespected. The vast, silent awareness that could have witnessed the sound as mere weather is instantly eclipsed by the constructed self that feels attacked. The bondage is not in the word. It is in the swift, unconscious agreement to the story that follows, the hypnotic plunge back into the dream of separation. You have forgotten your true size and have shrunk to the dimensions of a reaction. Consider the phenomenon of waking anxiety. You open your eyes, and before you even recall your name, a free, floating dread sits in your chest. What is it? It is the residue of forgetting in its purest form. It is the feeling of the limitless consciousness, having returned from its journey, suddenly contracting and agreeing to be a limited entity facing a world of threats. The anxiety has no specific content yet. It is the visceral shock of the agreement itself, the feeling of the infinite putting on the straitjacket of the finite. Throughout the day, your mind will rush to provide content for that feeling, your job, your health, the news. But the root was the primal act of forgetting who you truly are upon entry into the world of form. This is why spiritual teachings so often speak of remembrance. It is not about acquiring new information. It is about stopping the active, habitual forgetting. It is about inserting a pause between the event and the agreement. Someone cuts you off in traffic. In that pause, even if it lasts only a second, you have a choice. You can follow the old habit of forgetting, of instantly becoming the affronted ego, the body tensed with rage, the mind narrating the injustice. Or, in that pause, you can remember. You can feel the grip of the steering wheel, see the red of the brake lights, hear the sound of your own breath, and know this is all happening within me, the aware space. This drama is weather. I am the sky. The event may still occur, but you are no longer in bondage to it. You have broken the spell of forgetting, if only for a moment. The entire world, in a sense, is designed to make you forget. Its pleasures are meant to make you agree that satisfaction comes from form. Its pains are meant to make you agree that danger resides in form. Both are hooks for the same forgetting. The chase for success and the grip of failure are two sides of the same coin of amnesia. You forget you are the boundless presence for which success and failure are merely passing patterns, interesting experiences, but never definitions of your being. Practice, then, is the gentle, persistent art of remembering. It is the inner whisper, I am not this thought, this feeling, this sensation. I am the knowing of it. It is catching yourself in the act of forgetting, and in that very catching, remembering. You do it when you are stuck in a long line and irritation begins to rise. Feel the irritation as a clenching, a tightening weather system. Then remember, here is forgetting. I am agreeing to be a person being delayed. But I am the space in which this delay is happening. The irritation may not vanish, but it is now held in a vaster context. It loses its sting. You have loosened the bonds. Each time you remember, you wear a groove out of the prison of automatic agreement. You are training yourself to live from the place you visit every night, bringing the freedom of the formless into the density of the formed, not by fighting the world, but by ceasing to forget what you are in the midst of it. This art of remembrance is the precise tool that pierces the veil of physical appearances. It is not a philosophical conclusion you reach. It is a sword of discernment you wield in the marketplace of daily life. The world screams of its solidity, its urgency, its absolute reality. Your senses are relentless witnesses for the prosecution, testifying to the hard edge of the desk, the sharpness of the pain, the undeniable presence of lack or conflict. To speak of this as a veil feels like madness or denial. Yet, the very fact that you depart from it each night reveals its insubstantial nature. A veil is not nothing. It is a subtle obstruction that hides the source of light. The physical world is exactly that, a magnificent, detailed, and convincing veil that hides the radiant, formless reality of pure being from which it derives its only semblance of substance. Watch a movie in a theater. You are seated in a comfortable chair in a room with others. Then the lights dim, and a beam of light projects through a series of rapidly changing images onto a blank screen. Suddenly, you are no longer in a room. You are in a war zone, a love story, a distant galaxy. Your heart races, you weep, you feel tension. The appearances on the screen command your full emotional belief. For those 2 hours, that projection is your reality. Yet, at any moment, you could turn your head and see the beam of light, the dust motes dancing in it, the blank screen. You could remember the mechanism. Piercing the veil is that simple, profound turn of the head. It is shifting your attention from the compelling drama on the screen to the source of the light and the screen itself. Your daily life is that projection. The beam of light is the infinite consciousness you are. The screen is the receptive field of your awareness. The story is the agreed upon world of form. Take something as concrete as your own body in the mirror. You see lines, you see weight, you see age. The appearance speaks a convincing story of decay, a narrative headed in one inevitable direction. This is the veil in its most intimate and powerful form. To pierce it is not to deny the reflection, but to refuse to grant it ultimate authority. It is to look at the hand not as a solid, aging object, but as a temporary formation of intelligence, a dancing pattern of energy held in a specific agreement of form by the consciousness that observes it. When you have a pain, the veil is the immediate conclusion. I am sick. This body is failing. Piercing it means meeting the sensation with a deeper question: to what is this pain appearing? What is the nature of this awareness that knows the pain? You look not at the appearance, but from the source of all appearing. The pain may remain as a sensation, but its meaning is transformed. It is no longer a terminal verdict on your being. It is a passing condition within the field of your being. This piercing is what turns ordinary moments into portals. You are washing dishes, feeling the warm water, seeing the soap bubbles glisten and pop. For a moment, you are lost in the chore. Then you pause. You feel the aliveness in your hands, the play of light on the water, and you inwardly ask, what is it that is aware of all this? Instantly, the choreography of form, the dish, the water, the hand, is seen not as separate, solid objects, but as a seamless, flowing expression within your own awareness. The veil of separation thins. The activity continues, but you are no longer just a person doing dishes. You are the boundless space in which the dance of form and fluidity is happening. You have pierced from the level of effect to the level of cause. The world's drama loses its power to terrify when you see it as a masterfully produced play. The news report of conflict, the personal betrayal, the financial reversal, these are gripping scenes on the collective screen. To be enmeshed is to believe the scenes are the only reality. To pierce the veil is to feel the profound peace of the awareness that watches the screen, that provides the very light by which the scenes are made visible. This does not make you passive or indifferent. It empowers true action, action that stems not from the frantic reactivity of the character in the drama, but from the calm, intelligent clarity of the one who knows the drama is not all there is. You engage, but you are not entangled. You care, but you are not consumed. You see the veil for what it is, a beautifully complex, often challenging projection of the one infinite consciousness that you are, appearing as many, playing the game of separation, but forever yearning, through your own longing, to remember its source and see the light through the image. This is the culmination, the lived truth that transforms existence from a sentence to be served into a field of conscious union. To know yourself as the sky behind the weather, as the light behind the projection, is not to escape the human experience, but to fulfill it. It is to live from your eternal nature while fully participating in the temporal dance. The appearances of the world, the body, the relationships, the successes and losses do not vanish. Instead, they are transfigured. They cease to be masters to be obeyed and become instruments to be experienced, expressions of the one life playing in the infinite variety of form. You no longer seek to change the dream from within the dream. You abide as the dreamer, awake, and the entire dream becomes harmless, even beautiful in its poignant impermanence. You see this shift in the most grounded moments. You sit across from a loved one who is speaking of their fear. The old agreement would pull you into the story, into the shared anxiety, into the mental labyrinth of solutions. You would be two separate entities trapped in a problem. but living the truth of your eternal nature. You listen from the vastness. You hear the words as sounds. You see the emotion as a passing weather on their face and in your own heart, and you hold it all in a silent, spacious awareness that does not judge or panic. From this place, your response, whether it is a word, a touch, or simply a peaceful presence, does not come from the separate ego's toolkit. It flows from the intelligence of being itself. It is the right and healing action, not because you calculated it, but because it is the natural expression of wholeness meeting an appearance of lack. You are not fixing a separate person. You are being the peace that recognizes itself in another form. This is how you engage with your own body's inevitable changes. The mirror still reflects the aging form, but you are no longer a prisoner looking out from behind those eyes, condemned by time. You are the ageless witness, the consciousness that has worn many forms, enjoying the unique texture of this one, its wisdom, its softened edges, its very maturity. Achas may arise, but they are not greeted as betrayals. They are felt as sensations moving through the field of awareness, interesting in their intensity, but utterly incapable of diminishing the vastness that holds them. You care for the form with a tender detachment, as a musician cares for a beloved instrument, knowing the music is not in the wood and strings, but in the life that plays it. The instrument will wear, but the musician is eternal. Consider your work, your daily tasks. Perform from the old agreement. They are often burdens, means to an end, proofs of your worth or lack of it. Perform from the truth of conscious union. They become sacred movements, expressions of the infinite organizing itself in time and space. Washing a dish, writing a report, planting a seed. Each action is met with your full presence, not because the action is important, but because your presence is the reality. You are not doing the task to achieve a future state of peace or success. You are bringing the peace of your eternal nature to the task. The pressure to get somewhere evaporates. You are already home, and you are simply functioning from that home in the world of forms. The work may become more efficient, more creative, or it may not. That is irrelevant. What matters is that you are free within it. This is the secret to facing loss. When a form you love, a person, a possession, a situation, is taken from the visible world, the pain of separation can be acute. It is the weather of grief, and it must be allowed to storm. But beneath it, lived from this truth, is an unshakable knowing. The consciousness that you are, and the consciousness that they are, have not gone anywhere. The form of the relationship has simply changed. The love you felt was never a transaction between two separate entities. It was the one consciousness recognizing itself in another. That recognition is eternal. It cannot be broken by the rearrangement of forms. You mourn the veil, the beautiful, particular projection, while abiding in the light that projected it. You live without the security of any permanent form, anchored instead in the only permanence there is your own undeniable, ever-present being, which is the being of all that is. This is not a belief. It is the direct result of having pierced every veil, of having remembered each time you forgot, until finally you remain as the awake space in which the entire heartbreaking, glorious dream of life unfolds, knowing itself at last forever free.